All right, we're going to give it a few minutes. Let some people get in here, and then we'll get going. So and jump down in the chat if you want to. It should be open. Oh, that was that. Mm, We're going to give her a few minutes. I hope everything's just going all right with you. Participants. All right, we're going to give it a few minutes here before we get going. We're going to let it fill up a bit, and then we'll be off to the races. I think it's going to be shorter than an hour this time. Nothing nothing too crazy. So I'm just going to go through some methodologies, and and after that we'll take some questions, if any, and then we get go on from there. We'll probably get going about here in the next 3-4 minutes or so. So yeah, for me, I'll just chat about work. If you guys follow me, aside from doing sales training, I'm a I'm a working salesman myself. So I do more than just talk about it on LinkedIn. I've got my own sales company. I work in chemicals, food ingredients, international business mostly. I bring in from overseas. I resell B2B here in the US. I typically do container volumes. Sometimes I'll do pallets, all the way up to large consignments. I think my biggest movement ever was 40 containers in one shot. So that's the kind of typical stuff I do. I will source overseas, usually from Asia, but all over. I've gone to South America and Europe and to places like that. Bring it in here to the U.S. and I resell business to business. So if that's kind of the space that you're in, if you're moving physical goods, hey Joseph, how's it going? If you guys are moving physical goods, if you're in China, if you're in Brazil, if you're in India, and you're shipping into North America, you have something that goes in a container freight. Maybe it goes into LCL. Maybe you do air. That's what this system, what I'm going to talk about today, is for. This is going to be more of a casual talk. I'm going to mention this again at the end of the show, just in case there's people who sneak in after the fact. But what I will do, since I'm not going to do a screen share today, is I will put together a little slideshow packet and send it out to you guys if you want it, where I will essentially show you guys screenshots step by step of how to do the mail merge that I'm going to talk about during this live, because that's the whole key to it. How do you follow up with a lead but not with a sales objective? Like you don't have a sale that you're working on, but you have a good qualified prospect and you want to follow up with them. You want to stay close. This is what it's all about. I've got a good hot lead, nothing to sell them. How do I stay close? Okay, so we got a few people in here, and I'm tired of waiting. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get going. We're gonna go through this. You have any questions? I'll be watching the chat as I go through. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them up into the chat, and then I will get to them at the end. I'll leave a few more minutes after that, and then we'll get going from there. So welcome to International Sales for Asia to America, really anywhere into North America, sales for email campaigns. That's what we're going to talk about today. How to do this for an email campaign. So here's the problem. Let's say you get a sales inquiry. A customer reaches out to you. Maybe you reach out to them. Okay. You're pursuing a sales lead and you're able to qualify the customer. And what I mean by that is you haven't sold them anything yet, but you've determined that this customer is a viable customer for what I sell. I'm in the food ingredients business. If I determine that this person can buy the food ingredients I sell, okay. If you're in the chemicals business, you determine they buy the chemicals. If you're in intermediates or something like that, qualified, that means they really do buy the thing that you sell. You qualify them. They're a good prospective lead for you. You develop them, you send them specifications, you get the price quote in, and then for whatever reason, could be anything. We're not going to talk about it, but for whatever reason, they didn't buy what you were selling, and then the sales opportunity passed. Okay, so it's gone now, and you essentially lose touch with this contact. They stop responding to your emails, or they just send you a nice email saying, "Hey, I bought from your competitor instead of you this time." Okay, so now you've got a name, now you've got maybe a phone number and an email address of a good qualified customer, but you don't have anything to follow up, right? If you've been in sales very long, I've been doing this 7 years now. I've got hundreds of these. Okay. I got hundreds of them. You probably have hundreds of them too if you've been in sales as long as I have. So, what do? Now you've got this qualified lead and nothing to sell them. So that's the problem that we have. And I think a lot of us in sales, we just have these leads and we just sit on them and we don't do anything, like we don't know what to say to them, right? We don't want to send them some dumb email offering them, sell them something they're not asking for. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. So we can't do that. So what are we going to do? My suggestion to you is email marketing, and this is what I do at VWG, and I'm going to take you through today my system of how I do it, how I stay in regular contact with these kind of dead but qualified leads and turning them back into customers. So why email? Email is frequently the best way to go for international salespeople, and there's a lot of reasons for this. The first reason is time zone, especially if you're in Asia, your customers in North America, 13 hours difference sometimes. We're not going to call them, if we're 13 hours off. That's going to be very inconvenient. Sometimes there's language barriers. Maybe your English isn't as good. And the next thing is just time efficiency for yourself. Because if you've got hundreds of these people over the years, you're not going to have time to call each and every one of them. If you did, you wouldn't do anything else except for call them. That's all you would do. You wouldn't have time. So, and the last thing is to keep your credibility, because we don't want to constantly call people and interrupt their day if we don't have something hot that we're working on. So we don't want to take up their time. Email is much faster, it's a much lower bar, and email accomplishes the same thing as a phone call because it keeps your name fresh and it keeps your product fresh. It keeps that at the forefront, even when they're not necessarily thinking about buying. Here's the thing, and a lot of people in international sales don't know this. At any given time, only about 3% of your market is ready to buy. So the other 97% of your customers, even if they're qualified customers, they're not ready to buy right now. They just might be ready to buy at some point later in the future. That might be 6 months, that might be a year after you talk to them. But if you haven't talked to them in a whole year, there's no guarantee that they're going to come back to you when they are ready to buy. And so by having an email discipline where you regularly, maybe once a week, once every other week, you send them an email, and a smart email, one that they're going to read. Then when they're finally back in the market 6 months or a year from now, they're going to think of you and they're going to call you. They're not going to call your competitor. They're not going to email your competitor. They're going to email the guy who stayed in touch with them and who had a plan for staying in touch with them. So this is the goal. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time, and periodically send them an email that offers value and builds a relationship. And this is the key thing, because if your emails are no good, then they're not going to read them eventually. And it's not going to help as much as if you have a good email game and they're reading and appreciating the emails that you send. So I'm going to recommend to you 4 different kinds of emails that you can send to your customers and kind of talk you through each one a little bit, so you can use these. The first one is the price update email. Now, I don't recommend everybody use the price update email, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's you send them your price for whatever you sell on a periodic basis. A lot of people in international sales do this. It's usually a mistake. The only time you should use the market or the price update email is if you're the cheapest person in your industry. Okay? If you have the cheapest widget, if you have the cheapest car parts, whatever you sell, then go ahead and send them an email with your prices. But if you're not the cheapest, it doesn't help to do that. Okay? There can only ever be one. So you need to be honest with yourself. If you're really the cheapest in your market, go ahead and send your customers an email every week. An email that just says, "Hey, here's my price list, this week or this month," however often you want to do it. I recommend you do it at least a couple times a month, so you're always in front of them. Okay, that's if you're the cheapest. If you're not the cheapest, like me, I'm not the cheapest in my market. This is what I usually do. I send a market update email, right? The market update email is very powerful and very useful. And if you write them well, they will get read. Now, what you want to do in a market update email, just like it sounds, you want to write a short email, maybe 100, 200 words, just talking about what's going on that affects your whole market today as it affects your customer. And I'll give you some examples of this. Right now, there's a big problem with international shipping. So you can always write a market update email for your customers that talks about the shipping situation. I read an article today that there's a big magnesium shortage. It's going to affect all kinds of industries. That's another thing that would be good information for you to write in a market update email. And the idea is you're going to write this email and send it to your customers, and they're going to read it and they're going to get value from it. And then, like we said, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, when they're finally ready to buy the product that you sell, then they're going to think about you because you're the person who's been staying in touch with them once a week, once every other week. They get an email from you with valuable market update information. They're going to love you for it. And in the end, they're going to reward you with their business. The third type of email that you can do is a commentary email. Now, this is like a market update email, but it's even easier. It might be the easiest one. And the commentary email is when you just find an article. Like I mentioned today, I read an article about the magnesium shortage in China. I could just send that article, send a link to that article, and just have my commentary about how it's going to affect, how I think it's going to affect, or just my opinion on how that would affect the industry, and send that out with a link. So that also is very useful because you're sharing not only your own information, but you're sharing the news information as well with your customers. And they're really going to like this and they're going to appreciate it. And then the last, I call it the Seinfeld email, kind of the never ending story. If you really don't have a good market update, you can write the Seinfeld email. And the Seinfeld email really is just an email about what's going on at your company. If your company has new products, new updates, new developments, things like that. If they're in the news for something, you can always put that in the email that you send out to all of these clients. So those are the 4 types. Now, just to go over them again, there's the price update email, there's the market update email, the commentary email, and the Seinfeld email. Okay. So my advice to you is once a week, you write this email one time. Okay. And then you use a mail merge. And if you have Microsoft Office, and I think most of you do, then you have mail merge. And I will, at the end of this, if anybody wants it, I'll make a little how-to guide for mail merge. It's just it's an easy program that lets you write an email one time and send it out to hundreds of people, however many you need to. So for this, you're going to need Microsoft Office Word and Microsoft Office Excel. And I'm going to talk you through it just real briefly here, and then we'll be done. On Excel, all you need is an email list, and that's a list of email addresses. This is for all of these clients who never bought from you, and then their first and last name. That's it. And then you're going to get into Microsoft Word, and then you're going to write your email, write your market update email. It can say anything you want. It can say anything like what we talked about, the 4 different types of market update email. And once you're done typing it up in Word, then you go to mailings, you go to start a mail merge. That's the trick. And then you just follow the step-by-step mail merge wizard that's in there. And it's a really easy 6-step process. It will go through, you'll put in a greeting line, you'll put in a signature line, you'll use the program to tie it to your email list that you made in Excel. And then from there, it will just create all these emails individually addressed. So it's not blind copy, it's not carbon copy for any of these people. And it just blasts out this email to them and they get it. It's pretty awesome. And from there, that's all you have to do. Send this out once a week. Okay. And I can give you I have all kinds of stories of using this email. I actually got my best customer years ago. I was using a price update email and I was sending it out periodically. I only had 30 people on the list because I was new. I didn't know that many people. And so I sent this email out and I sent it out every day, actually. I don't normally recommend every day, but at this time I was doing it every day. And I sent it out to 30 people. And I did that for about 4 weeks. And then eventually somebody who never replied, they never said anything, they finally replied to one of those emails. And I got a sale from that conversation. And it was for $189,000. It was a huge sale. I was really happy. So was my boss. So that's it. That's what I have for you. I told you I wasn't going to take the whole hour, right? So now's the time. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat. I'm going to hang out and talk for just another couple of minutes to see what questions you have. But I'll tell you, I've been using this technique of sending out market updates for about 7 years. And if you think about it, you might get emails from other companies right now. And this is the kind of emails you're getting, and you don't even realize it. You just get an email from them once every week or something, or once every 2 weeks or something. And I'm not talking about the guy who emails every day and it's garbage, it's junk information. Your market update has to be real good market information, because if it's junk, nobody's going to read it. And that's part of why you don't do it every day. Because if you do it every day, it's hard to have good value. It's hard to be interesting. That's why I say you do it once every week, once every other week, and you give real information, valuable information, and you can send it out to hundreds of people. And so it's really useful that way, and it will build your credibility. It will build your respect with the customer. And the first time you do it, you're not going to get any replies. Okay, I will warn you. The second time you do it, you're still not going to get any replies. But if you stay consistent, okay, I'm not exaggerating. I've brought in many customers over the years with just this technique. and it always works the same way. What'll happen is I'll work on a sales objective. I'll work on it for whatever reason. Maybe the price was right, maybe or the price was wrong, or the timing was wrong, something like that. It doesn't happen. But I stay in contact by putting them on the email list. And then once a week or so, maybe once every other week, I send an email. It goes to everybody. It's personalized. And then eventually they come back and they become a customer. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot out of your time that you spent with me on this. So if you guys have my email address, I'm going to put it in the chat too. Aaron and more sales now training. So there's the email address. If you want the tutorial on doing a mail merge, I'll be very happy to put it together. I'll put together like a PDF or maybe a short video, and I'll share it with you guys. If you want to send me an email and just ask for it, I'll do that for you. So you guys can do this by yourselves. No problem. And hopefully you can turn those old dead leads who quit talking to you months ago eventually into buying customers. So that's what I have for you guys. Guys and gals, I want to wish you all the best of success selling. Bye-bye.